Can we start, Shivani?
Yeah. Very great morning to each one of you present here on this Saturday. And we have with us a special guest, Pragnya Venigala, who is joining from all the way from Dubai. And I welcome you, Pragnya, on Skilling on Saturdays, episode 90. I would like to introduce her to everyone. Pragnya is a performance optimization specialist. She is a certified NLP practitioner and ICF associated certified coach, consultant, and trainer, holding bachelor's degree in engineering and master's degree in business management. She is also a distinguished Toastmaster and member of Professional Speakers Association of India. Her keen interest in psychology, processes, and progress directed her from being an IT professional with a decade of experience to exploring the world of peak performances and processes. Having trained, coached, and mentored over 1,000 people and spoken at various corporate forums and summits, she has received numerous accolades for her confidence, communication, and ease of breaking down difficult subjects. She has spoken on international forums, won various awards and speaking contests, and has been selected among Super 500 in Super Speaker Season 3, Hunt for India's Best Motivational Speaker conducted by Success Gyan. She has also authored a book, Ace at Work, helping people navigate nuances of career growth and fulfillment. He has trained various people at various levels in an organization on topics such as communication, collaborative teamwork, leadership, project management, productivity, and performance. He has also authored a book, Ace at Work, helping people navigate nuances of career growth and fulfillment. With this brief introduction, I welcome you, Pragnya. Her short name is Peggy, and I welcome you, Peggy. So please take the session lead ahead. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Shivani, for that wonderful introduction. A very, very warm good morning to all of you. Thank you for spotlighting. Yeah. All right, so this early morning, I want to start with a thought-provoking question. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, okay. So I want to start with this question. What does success mean to you? You can let me know in the chat box. What does success mean to you? I know it's very early morning for, very serious questions, but one word answers. Nirupama says achieving. Nice. Okay, so usually when I ask these questions in my talks, I get various answers such as success is happiness, success is, yeah, I see some chats coming in now. Great. Yes, fulfillment, satisfaction, absolutely. These are very common answers that I always receive. So thank you, Lov. Thank you, Neeraj. Ranvijay says to lead my life, contribute growth, clarity, and confidence to others. Very nice.
Two definitions I would like to add here.
Yes.
One is the beautiful one, your ability to smile when things around you collapse.
Very
and the
nice.
other is given by not Napoleon Hill. It is given by Earl Nightingale. Success is the progressive realization of an ideal goal.
Nice, wonderful definitions, of course. I'm also seeing other answers here. Gaurav says success is exploring and achieving. Okay, Hirani has a beautiful passage written here, which I'm reading in my mind, but all of you can read in the chat as well.
I read it. I have just copied and pasted right now. I didn't write.
Okay.
Already written. Yes, to be very fair.
Very nice. All right, Manisha
My
says success is
way
being
of
happy.
success. This is my perception of success.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone has a different perception of success, and that's exactly why I'm asking this question. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for your answers. Now, can I share what success means to me? Now,
Yeah,
for the
please.
longest time, for me, success meant winning over shortfalls. You know, the rags to riches stories. Now, let me explain. Do you know who this person is? Can you see my screen? Yes. Does anyone know who this is?
Yes.
Yes, who is this?
Sundar Pichai.
No, it's not Ranvijay.
Sundar
All right.
Pichai.
Sundar Pichai. No, not at all. No. So this is Hitesh Ramchandani. He was born as a breech baby. So basically that means he was born with legs first. Okay. So usually all of us come head first. He came legs first. And due to a doctor's negligence, he ended up with cerebral palsy. Basically that happened because during his delivery, he was out of oxygen for almost 6 minutes, right? That affected his brain and he ended up with cerebral palsy. But that didn't stop him. Today, he is a global motivational speaker, a Paralympic footballer, and author, and he inspires millions with his tagline, Better Than Normal. He is a true inspiration, and if you meet him, you'll see how humble and comical he is. When he shares thoughts like, the doctors thought I will not live beyond 6 months, but after 30 years, those doctors are dead and he is still alive. Yes. Now, do you know who this is? Oh, this is Sunita Krishnan. Now, she was gang raped by 8 men when she was 15, and she faced insurmountable challenges in her life, but that didn't stop her. Today, she is a social activist uh, who's rescuing and rehabilitating thousands of trafficked victims. She received a Padma Shri award for her work, and I came across her when literally she was the first TED Talk that I had watched. A very inspiring speaker indeed. Now, an international figure. Do you know who this is? Yes, those into the speaking circle know her. This is Lisa Nichols. Now, she shares her story of finding herself as a single mother with no money to care for her child, and that was her rock bottom. And that didn't stop her. Now, she turned her life around and is today a celebrated transformational speaker who motivates the masses to overcome difficulties and pursue their dreams. So she's a beautiful speaker and she is at the par with, world speakers like Tony Robbins and Les Brown. And she's the next on the list that comes to my mind when you talk about who are the most inspirational speakers around, right? So what is common with all of these stories? That they all faced challenges. They overcame their challenges, then becoming powerful voices that impact the world.
Can you say
Now,
resilient and perseverance?
yes, absolutely. Perseverance was definitely very strong. Now, these are the kind of people that I have grown being inspired from. Now, I started to believe that you need to have this powerful story, you need to have this powerful struggle, and overcoming that struggle, that is what success means.
Success.
All right. Now, can someone tell me who is this? Come on, this you must know.
It's you.
Saina Nehwal.
Oh, this is me, but I'm glad you think
You.
it's Saina Nehwal.
Pragnya.
Yes, this is me. Awesome.
Okay.
So who am I? Why am I talking about all this? So this is me, a happy-go-lucky girl, blessed with a beautiful family, a wonderful childhood, and everything nice. And although I did everything with a lot of passion, I never felt like there was anything more I could do since I didn't have this, struggle story. I didn't have a success story. Then why am I here today talking about success and sustainable success? Now, let me share a little bit of my story. I'm a typical Indian, right? Grew up in a warm family, of course, went on to become an engineer and then joined a software company. Everything was great. I wanted to do my MBA. My parents let me. They never stopped me saying, okay, this is all you need to do. So I had beautiful experiences in my childhood as well. So the thing is, I moved to Dubai when I got married. I loved the city. It's very warm, it's very huge, it's very glitz and glamour, but it's not all of that. It's also hard when you're moving to a different country where you have to start from scratch in building your relationships, right? But all that did not deter me at all. I was like, that's still fine. You know, people move places, there's nothing great about it. But for me, my turning point came when I became a mother. I was a full-time working employee by then. And when I became a mother, I started realizing that I need to balance, life and work and family and a baby. And it was just so challenging at that point that I was mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I can't work anymore. And I ended up quitting. But here's the thing, I am a workaholic, right? So for me, quitting work was one of the most difficult decisions that I've had to take. Right. But then it was one of the best ones that I did too, because it steered me down this path of performance optimization. It made me start my own company. It made me write a book. It made me talk to thousands of people across the globe with what I love talking about. All right. So now, but through all my experiences, there's one thing that stuck out to me, and that is workaholism is not sustainable. Okay, now let me ask you this. How many hours do you have in a day?
24.
24? Yes, are you sure? Nobody has more than that?
I'm
Yeah,
confused.
everyone has 24,
25 or
right?
26.
We wish we had more. Yes, I totally agree. But yes, we all have 24 hours in a day, isn't it? But how many of these 24 hours are spent at work? A lot?
Depends. Somebody
Depends,
8,
yeah.
somebody less, somebody more.
Depends
Correct.
on the mindset.
Depends on the mindset. But yes, Dharmesh gave us an approximate ballpark figure, 8 to 10 hours. Yeah, that's usually how much time people spend at work.
But what
And
do you
yet,
call, ma'am, what do you call? You are if you are a mother and you are taking care of your children, isn't that a
yeah,
work? Which
of
you
course
love,
it is.
which you love, but it's
It
a
is
work.
still work.
So you
Yeah.
are working more.
Okay, Gopi said I spend 10 to 12 hours. I love that. Gopi, I'm going to talk to you specifically. Manisha works 18 hours a day? Wow. I hope you love your work, honestly. All right. Anyways, but yet, you know what? The number one regret of people on their deathbed is I wish I hadn't worked so much. So the bottom line is this. Something is clearly off about the way we work. We spend more than 1/3 of our life at work and we still regret it on the deathbed. That's strange, isn't it? Now, when we spend so much of our lives at work, can we actually make work for us? Can we make life work for us? That is the question we will explore in this session
Yes.
today. Now, so I told you about my story very briefly, right? But specifically at the time where I was trying to balance, family, a new baby and work, one thing that stuck with me throughout is, oh my God, how do people do this? Right? Everybody does it. It's not great. I'm not the only mother on this earth who works. But why am I struggling so much about it? So I was like, you know what? No, this is not done. I am going to be a super mom. Okay, I'm going to wear a cape, an imaginary cape, and be that, superwoman who flies doing everything. And I was so determined to do that. I would go to work, I would cook, I would clean, I would take care of everything. At that point in Dubai, I did not even have house help, right? And I was like, it's cool. I'll manage everything. I'm fine. This is great. My life is great. And I kept telling myself this, and I went on. Within 6 months of me turning back to work, by the way, we get a 45-day maternity leave here. So returning to work on the 46th day itself wasn't easy, but I pushed myself. I was like, I can do this. And I took on more work at office and everything was, going on. And I thought it was going great until I realized it wasn't. What I essentially was doing was burning out. And slowly, that flame that I had in me started to diminish. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. Burnout. What do you think burnout is? Any thoughts? What is burnout?
Yeah, burnout means like you are like work you are doing is not up to your choice or interest, and you don't like it,
Mm-hmm.
and you still you are doing it. So that's burnout.
Yeah. All right. Good answer. So
I
Ranvijay
will
says,
say people
yeah.
get tired by working, but when they're
Mhm.
stressed, they get fatigued, and that is burnout.
Yeah. Fatigue and stressed. Yes. Ranvijay says you stretch and you do not cope with yourself. Yes. Manisha
In
said you when you can't control your emotions. Lo says wearing off.
When you wish to quit.
When you wish to quit. Exactly. That's also a one extreme stage of burnout. Yes.
In
Gopi
my
says more
view,
hours
what
of
I
work, but
see,
less of interesting and tired. Nirupama overexertion. Yes, all of you are right. But the scientific definition of burnout is that it's a psychological syndrome that arises from prolonged exposure to stresses in the workplace and, of course, in life. Right? So, burnout is associated with numerous health issues, including cardiovascular diseases, mental health conditions, such as depression and anxiety. We hear a lot of these nowadays. And it has significant consequences, not just for an individual, but even for organizations that we work in, right? So burnout, like I said, cardiovascular diseases, it also has other musculoskeletal disorders, mental conditions, right? So depression, anxiety, we spoke about this. And it's just the tip of the iceberg, the health that gets impacted. Now, from an organizational perspective, if you run a company or you work in an organization, if you see people around you are burnt out, what this leads to is high level of absenteeism, lower productivity, higher turnover rates, people leaving jobs, switching, reduced job satisfaction among employees. And this overall affects performance and profitability of the organization also, not just the individual, right? And of course, the toll it takes on us just for the stress that we have. Now, this is essentially characterized by three primary dimensions: emotional exhaustion, depersonalization or cynicism, and reduced personal accomplishment. The third one is the biggest one. But let's talk about these three. So, emotional exhaustion is basically the core of burnout. This is where this is characterized by feeling of being overexerted, like Nirupama said, overexertion. Yes, just depleted of emotional and physical resources. Like you have nothing left to give, right? That stage is called emotional exhaustion. Now, this is characterized by, of course, fatigue, by overwhelm, the constant feeling of, okay, I have to do something, so much is being demanded of you, and extreme stress, chronic stress, and a sense of being unable to cope with what is happening. So, most of you have shared a lot of these points here. So, I love that. Okay, so definitely impacts your physical health, headaches, stomach aches, back pains, sleep disturbances, and mental health with like, uh, underlying feeling through all of this. And the second characteristic of burnout is depersonalization. It's also known as cynicism. Okay, so this is a dimension where you're becoming very negative. You're becoming very careless or casual. You're excessively detached from, the various aspects of jobs or workplaces. So this is like you feel detached or disconnected from your work or your colleagues, and you become negative. So you start having this cynical or negative outlook towards things. Okay, and you're not just thinking most of the time. Now, and it also leads to a lot of indifference. Basically, it's like, what do we say? The lack of empathy or the concern for your, people around you. Okay, so it affects your relationships, it affects your satisfaction levels, it affects how professionally you show up. And the third thing, which is what happened to me, is reduced personal accomplishment. Now, this is basically a dimension that is marked by a decline in feelings of competence and successful achievement. Now, no matter what I would have done, I've done things. If I have achieved something, I always used to downplay them a lot. And I thought I was just being negative about myself, but turns out it is actually not normal to think like that, right? So we need to become our biggest bannerman, but I wasn't in those days. And it was hard to, live that way because you're not seeing anybody, you're looking for validation from other people. You wish somebody, said, okay, you're doing a good job or something, but you don't feel that. internally, correct? So you start feeling ineffective. We start questioning our own ability to perform things that you would have done for so many years. So when I was my job, so many years I was doing the same similar kind of job, and I was very good at it. And suddenly I started feeling like, okay, I don't know enough to do this. There's this lack of achievement. There is self-doubt. There is low self-esteem that comes, and of course, this affects the way you perform, the way you show up at your work. Right now, these three characteristics is not something that I came up with. This is actually called the Maslach burnout inventory. Okay, this was developed by psychologists very early in the 1980s. So this has actually become like a standard instrument, for checking burnout levels. It's a clinical setting tool that people use now for evaluating the nature of burnout. Okay, so now why burnout? We saw, okay, what burnout is. So, but why do we get burnout?
Ma'am, one more dimension.
Yeah.
You end up not loving yourself. Instead of loving yourself.
Absolutely. Very true. And that is, definitely the reduced sense of accomplishment,
Yes.
reduced sense of self, right? You don't even feel like
self-belief, self-confidence,
everything gets affected. And there are different degrees of, to which this happens. Some people just have it very little. Some people have it a lot, but we don't know that this is burnout. Some people just think, okay, this is just life. This is adulting. We tell ourselves a lot of stories, but it can actually just be burnout. All right. But why does this happen to us? Any thoughts? Why do we burn out? So we know,
we do not have the knowledge or realization of this condition.
Yes, we don't have the realization that it is burnout, first of all.
Most of all, madam, we should have a purpose. We don't have purpose and we are doing everything.
Yes.
Instead of doing what we love to do. We are doing everything, but we don't do what we love to do. Because we are responsible.
We love being busy, isn't it? Yes. We're not able to balance everything. We're not able to say no to self. Yeah. No. Always say no to ourselves, say no to everything else. But yes, we can't say no. Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like we feel burnout when our actions and emotions, they are not aligned with our purpose.
Absolutely. So but purpose is a very big word, right? A lot of people go through life without knowing what their purpose is. And we don't even have our emotions attached there. And FOMO, yes, we live a lot for other people, isn't it? I'm assuming majority of us in this room are Indians, correct? And we have this, oh, log kya kahenge? What will people say? Thinking all the time, right? Keeping ourselves at back burner and saying yes to all. Absolutely. We do that always. Yes, I'm guilty of doing that. Aren't you? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Everybody up to some extent.
Up to some extent, yes. I like that. Yes. So burnout can happen for various reasons. Number one is excessive workload, right? Long working hours are primary contributors to burnout. Okay, people feel, okay, we need to work longer hours. We need to stay, beyond our time just to finish the work. But work never finishes, right? Does work ever get over? Can you say, okay, I'm done with work. I have nothing more to do. You'll always have more work on your plate, right? And I'm not talking about this being a workplace thing, right? If I used to go to the job, I understand there is a boss, there are people around you who have demands from you. But when I quit my job, I realized that didn't help. It did not help. Because even despite leaving my job, I would still have 100 demands of me by people in the house or around me or myself. Like I would expect myself to be doing more. Because remember, I had that imaginary cape where I was a superwoman. Yeah, these are things that we put on ourselves. Okay. So another thing that we burn out is because of lack of control over how things are going, over the work processes, over outcomes. Okay. And also insufficient reward, whether financial, institutional, social, right? If you're just feeling underappreciated by people around you, well, you are going to start feeling burnt out. Okay, and if you have poor relationships, if you lack the support from your colleagues, your family members, this increases the feelings of isolation and stress. Now, humans are social beings, right? We're all monkeys, essentially. We all have come from monkeys. And monkeys always survive and thrive in a group setting. We're not meant to be alone. But we need to be alone to find ourselves. Okay. Review goals every day to feel satisfied and positive. Yes, Manish. These are stuff you can do to overcome burnout. You know that? You do not know. Yeah. I love that. Okay. And the biggest one is value mismatch. A mismatch between your personal values and what you are doing at your work. This is where you have that disconnect, the disconnect from your purpose, which you can call it. Yeah. Awesome. So we know what burnout is. We know why it comes. But how do we know that we are actually burnt out? All right. Let me ask you something. Now, let's say you are inside a bottle, okay, a jar. Can you read what is the label on that jar? You cannot, right? Yeah.
Only
When
on
you're
the
inside,
mirror.
sorry?
Only on the mirror.
Yeah. You cannot see. You can see on the mirror that too backwards, right? If you're not very great at reading, if you have specs like me and you don't have any specs, you can't even read that, right? So you need to get out of that place for you to be able to read. That is why most people who are burning out don't realize they are burning out. It's only an external perspective that can tell you that you're actually burning out. That's why people around you matter a lot, because these are the people who notice what is happening with you, right? All right. So, but you cannot see for yourself. So what can you do? You can reflect on yourself. Okay. Look at your own self. Okay. Now, think of a time when you were your best in your life. Your best, whatever it was, when you were in your 20s, 30s, or it was yesterday. Okay. Your best in your life versus how you're feeling now. This is the reflection we need to do. Look for differences in physical signs. What about your sleeping patterns, your appetites, your moods, your energy levels? Yeah, and your overall health for that matter. Now, people can say, yeah, I was very fit in my 20s, but now I'm in my 40s, or, I'm in my 30s, 40s. I'm not feeling the same energy. Of course, it's life. Adulting happened, pain started. That is not normal, guys. Who said with age, your energy has to deplete? Who said that? We just assume that is true because, age, problems come with age. Problems don't come with age. Problems come because we take ourselves for granted. All right. So look at this reflection, your best performance versus now, physical signs. Look at emotional signs. How are you able to cope? Were you able to cope well then or now? What were your motivation levels? How detached or how isolated are you now? What are your anxiety levels? What are your feelings of self-doubt, inadequacy? Okay, how negative are you being? Look at these differences. Look at behavioral signs. Is there a drop in your productivity? Is there procrastination? Are you increasingly irritable around the house? Okay, are you excessively relying on food or alcohol or drugs? No, I hope nobody is, but we do that, right? Food is, by the way, an emotional reaction to our bodies. You feel stressed, some of us tend to go grab food. We start overeating the moment we are stressed. Okay. Now, look for these differences between your best performance and now, and you for yourself will know, are you heading towards burnout? Okay. Now, let's come back to this question that now that we know burnout better, let's come back to the question that we started with. What does success mean to you? Why I ask this question is because the number one way to overcome burnout is to understand what success means to you. Not what it means to your parents, not what it means to your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, the society, but what does success mean to you? Comparisons with others. I will be successful if I have that car, if I have that house, right? Now, it's absolutely okay to want to have that car, to want to have that house, but why? Know your why behind what your success is. Why is this a sign of success for you? Nothing is wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong to want to have a luxurious life, living a billionaire's. I want to own my own plane, live on a yacht. Sure. You want to be like, I don't care about all that. I just want to, have a small house, live content with my little family. Cool. You don't have to be high performers all the time. People don't want to be high performers. They're happy with what they're able to achieve. Yes? But the thing,
Like hermit will be successful if you can live alone. He can cope with loneliness. So a billionaire can be successful if he is the richest person. So it depends upon what you want, right?
Exactly. So it depends about what you want. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, there is a difference. You brought up a very interesting word. There is a difference between loneliness and being alone.
Yeah. Big difference.
There is a world of a difference between these two. Being alone is you're okay with, staying alone at home, going to restaurants, eating food by yourself, going to a movie theater by yourself. That is being alone. Being lonely is having people around you and yet not being able to be yourself or not being seen.
You can be lonely in the crowd.
You can be lonely in a crowd, but you can be alone with yourself no matter where. So being alone is a good thing. Being lonely is not.
Yes.
Right? So the point I'm trying to make here is it is your
I was
journey.
just trying to clarify. The hermit is alone and is happy, he's successful. If a person who want to be rich, he is a lot of money, is success for him. Not for me or you, but for him.
Yes, exactly. So everybody's is different.
Yes.
It can be. So for extroverted people, they cannot sit alone by themselves. They always need people around them because that's where they drive their energy from. And that's okay. We're not judging people here, right? We just need to let people be the way they want to be. But the point is, do they know that they are being like that intentionally? Right? So 3 things we need to define for ourselves. What is success for me? Why is it so for me? And how will I know that I have become successful? Many a times we have actually achieved things, we have done things that, 10 years ago we thought was a dream. Yeah. But then we're like, oh, I am actually successful because this is what I had defined success as for me in my life. But then we forget, don't we? Yeah. So how will you know that you're successful? So these 3 questions are very important for us to actually know. So how do we move forward towards this kind of a thinking? Is first of all, unsubscribe from mental models that don't help us. What we believe is us is actually a lot of society, is a lot of upbringing, is a lot of other people, not our own views. We are shaped, the way we think, the way we behave, the way we show up is all determined by our life circumstances, by the people we are surrounded with, by our parents who have given us opportunities or not given us opportunities, our teachers, our school, our friends, everything around us, including social media, which is one of the biggest influencers on our lives. So the way we think, is it true or is it because other people are telling you this? Okay. And another biggest mental model that we all have is why me? If something goes wrong, we start saying, oh, why does this happen to me always? Correct? Or we start blaming other people. We complain, we criticize. Who here has had a day without complaining ever? Don't complain about the weather, about the food, about anything. Very hard to find people like that. If you are like that, yay! Awesome. You can share your experience of how not complaining can change your life.
Then it's Buddha.
Buddha. Yes, Gaurav, you want to share?
Yes. So, of course, I learned 3 years back, never be in guilt, never be in shame, and apply JCB rule, not to justify, not to cry, not to blame. So since then, frankly, I never said why me. I always say try me, because every day we are exploring, we are having experiences, and whichever I have, many, I will say millionaire or billionaire people will not be going to have. So I'm always grateful and enjoying. Yeah. So that helps.
Beautiful. That deserves a round of applause, honestly. Thank you for sharing. That's exactly what I'm trying to get to. Right? So by doing this, by actually stopping to blame, complain, criticize, be judgmental about other people, you are giving yourself space to live. All right. Now, high performers don't see themselves as victim of their circumstances. They take charge of their time, their energy, their resources, and they make decisions that align with their values and their goals. right? So how do you do this? The answer is very simple: performance optimization. Now, what is performance optimization? It all starts with step 1, awareness. Now, awareness, what I mean is brutal honesty. Brutal honesty about the way things are and the way you want them to be and why you want them to be like that. Now, brutal honesty is also recognizing what you are working with, right? What is the time span you have? Everybody has 24 hours, yes, but still people are able to do more or less depending on how they turn up, right? So based on your time, your energy, your money, or any of the resources that you need. Now, another honest thing that we need to be is to understand what are our limits and what are our limiting beliefs. Now, these are two different things. Now, you have 24 hours a day is a limit, right? It's a fact. You cannot change that. But I don't have enough time is a limiting belief. Okay, you get the difference? We need to understand for ourselves what are our limits and what are our limiting beliefs. And another thing that we can think of is we can't do everything, right? Which is the biggest mistake we try to do, is we try to multitask and try to do everything at once. The fact is we can't do everything. That is a limit. Okay, but I can't do anything is a limiting belief. In reality, you can actually do anything you want to do. It's just that you can't do everything at once. Okay, now how do you start becoming aware of yourself? How do you start becoming honest? This one of the most powerful things you can do is journaling. Right? If you don't know journaling, if you're new to it, just start with dumping your brain. It's called a brain dump. Take an empty sheet of paper, take a pen and sit and write whatever comes to your mind. No structure, no thought, nothing. Just write. When I started doing this, initially I wrote, what am I doing? This is so silly. Okay, it's fine. Whatever you're thinking in that moment, just put everything down on paper. When you start emptying your brain, you'll start getting more clarity. Okay, journaling is a super powerful tool. If you haven't tried it, please try it.
Yes, but I got it very much clarity when I started 2 years back. Journaling, whatever it comes, I started writing
Yep.
in the first hour of my day. So it gave me such a clarity, and I like what you told. I'm multitasking, but when I had that limitation and the limiting belief differences, I had a border. I had a limit. I should do. I shouldn't do. Yes or
Yep.
no, right or wrong. That was my clarity when I started journaling.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. For me as well. Now, if any day I feel overwhelmed, I feel anxious, I feel like something is not in my control, I sit and journal. Okay, somewhere it starts, your inner thoughts start coming out and you start realizing why you're actually feeling like that. Okay, now our brains are actually meant to generate ideas. They are very creative. The way our brains work is phenomenal, right? But what we use our brains for? What do we use our brains for? For storing information, for remembering things. Oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. You're remembering 1,000 things. You're remembering stories from your childhood, right? Our brains are not storage mechanisms. Our brains are creating mechanisms. They are thinking mechanisms, right? So brain dumps help us take all that storage in our brain and actually put it out on paper. So our brain gets clear and now we can think. All right. So what we're doing with this exercise is basically find out what do you think of yourself. Are you with me, everyone? Yep. Awesome.
Yes, yes.
And also the reason why I say write with a physical, in physical pen. Of course, digital is cool. You can type things out if you're, a tech-savvy person. But writing is more beneficial. Whatever form is, good. But writing is more beneficial because it involves more muscles in your arm, right?
And it's
So
wired
you're
with the brain.
forced to slow down.
And
Sorry,
it is
Nani?
wired with the brain.
Yes, because it's wired to the brain. And when you're overthinking, especially I see Nirupama said overthinking is something that our brain does. Yes, why do we overthink? Because our brains are running super fast. They're like supercomputers. How do you slow your brain down? People will say do meditation. Okay, but let me tell you something. If you do meditation, you're only going to go do. You can sit for half an hour with your brain running all over the place. If you have tried meditation, you know how hard it is to quiet your mind. Right? So if you write, what happens is your hand writes slower than your brain thinks. So when you're writing, you need to focus on what you're writing. Try talking to somebody, eating, doing other things, and try writing. You cannot.
Good.
That's not how the brain is designed at all, right? So you need to sit and write. And when you're writing, you're focusing on the pen, on your hand, and moving it physically. Your brain slows down naturally. Cool? Yes, writing and journaling. Absolutely. You don't need a fancy leather-bound journal. Any paper, any book will do. But if you like a fancy leather-bound journal, sure, no one's judging. All right? Cool. So the first step, awareness. And the second step is change. Change is a very scary word, yes? But Einstein once said that if you do the same thing again and again and again and expect different results, that's not practice, that's insanity. Correct?
Yes.
So if you're doing what you have been doing all your life and you continue doing it, and you're like, nothing is changing in my life, I'm still the same way, then it's not the problem of your life, but it's just that your approach needs to change. My learning for this came from one of my speech contests in Toastmasters. So I have no slides. I like talking, I like interacting, so no slides. All right. So one of my biggest learning comes from my Toastmasters speech contest. Okay. So I wrote a speech and I loved it. And I felt like, oh my God, this is amazing. I went and delivered it and I won in my club contest. Okay. So in the next round of contest, I was like, my speech is good. So I'm going to go ahead and give the same speech. And the next time I came second. Okay. But then so the top two people go to the next round. So I went to the third round. Now I'm like, my speech is good because I like it. I feel I've done it before. I know the speech by heart by now. And I go and do the same speech third time. What do you think happened?
Nobody liked it?
Nobody liked it. No, of course, people liked it. It was a good speech. Just that I did not win. I did not win. Why? But it was a good speech. I won first, I won second. Then how come I didn't even win? I wasn't even in the top 5. Why? Because repeating something does not help you. Growing from it helps you. Right? It's always about feedback. Yeah, it's always about feedback. When you do something, do it with an intention of, okay, let's learn from this experience. If I go with the same thing again and again, it's just that I'm not going to change. Right? Okay. Now, I have another question for you guys. What do you do? What do you do in your work?
I'm a gynecologist.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
And I'm a coach and author. I'm a mother, wife, and daughter.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Anyone else wants to share? What do you do? Manage situations and people. Okay. Thank you, Manoj. All right. So the reason I'm asking you this question in the interest of time also is generally when you ask this question, people will answer with a job title, a company name, or an industry, or their job. Yes? But I met one person at one of the gatherings and I asked him, this very innocent question, what do you do? And he replied, I light up lives. What? Light up lives? I was like, yeah. Like, that wasn't a job. That wasn't a company. So I was curious. I'm like, what do you mean? And he explained that he works at the electricity board. He processed bills and ensured people's electricity was not disconnected due to non-payment of bills. Now, that was something. I had never described my work the way that he did. He inspired me, honestly, that day. And I started to see it clearly, that if we actually have a bigger meaning behind the tasks that we do, at work or, even in life, we are operating then from a place of meaning, which can turn your entire world around. So I implore you to think about this question. What do you do? And the next time I ask you this, don't tell me your job title, don't tell me your role, but tell me how you're impacting lives, or
What
how
you do,
what you
at
do
a deep
impacts
level.
others. Exactly. What do you do
What
at
to
a deep
effect
level?
that.
Yes.
There was a story of person, a bricklayer. One said, I'm making a temple. Another thing, I'm making a wall.
Correct. Yes, similar story. Yes, so it's about how you look at life and how you look at what you do.
See,
So our brains are actually, sorry, yes?
I want to add, like, it's just like living a strong purpose in life every day.
Yeah. Sure, you can say that. That will spark an interesting conversation, right?
Yeah.
Rather than saying I'm an accountant, which they'll say, okay, good for you. You say I live my life purpose. Now they're curious, and you'll actually have better relationships also, because people are more interested in what you have to say. Yeah, for sure. But what is your life purpose? Now, that is the question that we need to answer.
Like, what you love to do based on your values. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Gaurav?
Yeah, even I can share, like in my company, I'm into pharmaceuticals. So we always say we are impacting 2.5 billion lives. So yeah.
Nice. But impacting how? Yeah, so that should be an added in that sentence.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Now, the basic principle of, to change the way you're thinking about work is to think lean. All right. So overcome your time wasters. What are time wasters in your life? Can you name top 3 time wasters that we have? All of us have the same 3, if you ask me.
Again, overthinking, repetition of my thoughts.
Yeah,
and
overthinking, yeah.
Living in the past.
Right.
I feel these are my
Instagram. Thank you, Dr. Major.
Living fear. Yeah.
Living in fear. Yes. But the biggest time wasters, more psychological than actually what happens in our lives, are these beautiful little things that have changed the world, but they've also changed our worlds. Why? Because we are more connected, yet more disconnected from ourselves and from people around us. Right? Social media, biggest time waster. Second, meetings, overthinking, procrastination. All of these things are our time wasters. When we know we are wasting our time here, we can proactively actually take action to stop doing that. Run on phone calls. I have mixed feelings on that. Sometimes it's possible that you're talking to your mother who needs that extra discussion. It's fine. Okay, but if you're just having phone calls, like dragging on taking decisions, procrastinating on getting things done, then no, right? So there are good ways also of having prolonged phone calls. If you're talking to a friend after 10 years, you don't want to end that phone call.
But many times what happens, they go asking, what next? What more? What more? As if they don't have anything to talk,
they don't have anything to talk. Exactly. What else? What else? Yeah. Those I'm not talking about those conversations, but I'm saying actually genuine, interesting conversations that keep rolling by themselves. Yeah, that's when you'll feel like, oh yeah, okay. Those leave you feeling energized as well. Okay. Then, of course, negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, all of these are time wasters. So let's start focusing on reducing the waste in our life. You'll naturally have more time. You'll naturally have more energy, naturally have more resources to do the things that you actually love doing. Okay. So all we have to basically do is monitor the way things are. When you're being brutally honest with yourself, get feedback on how things can become better and reflect on that feedback. That's all performance optimization is. And a simple tool to do this is every day when you're sitting to journal.
You have to add one more thing, ma'am.
Yeah.
Delegation.
Delegation is a part of that. Absolutely. Delegation is letting other people do something.
Then you can get more hours, in your life.
Yes, of course. Why not?
In a day, sorry.
Yeah. So this is one of something that I learned as well, right? So when I was here, when I was working, I did not have help because I was like, okay, why pay for the help? I can do it myself. But pay for that help because you will have more free time to spend with your family rather than, sitting in the kitchen and cleaning. Right? But we hesitate doing that. Well, like, why? No, what will people think? Especially when I quit my job. I'm like, I'm not working now. So why, have a maid? Everyone thinks I'm a queen if I'm having a maid and I'm not even working. And I actually did not get a maid, but that was even worse than actually going to a full-time job. Right? Because I am by nature somebody who loves to work. So then if I'm depriving myself of the workplace situation, it just got replaced with household work. Okay. So you will not realize all this if you don't monitor, monitor, get feedback, and reflect. So when you're sitting down to journal, ask yourself 3 things every day. Okay. What should I start doing? What should I stop doing? And what should I continue doing? So it's basically start, stop, continue. These 3 things, when you start thinking like this on a daily basis, look at, okay, what went well today? Great, I'm going to continue doing this tomorrow. What was wrong today? Okay, I spent 3 hours on Instagram. Okay, let me stop doing that. How can I do that? Right? How can you do that, by the way? Please put a timer on your phone where Instagram gets locked after an hour. Okay, and set a password. If you override yourself, tell your spouse or your kids, if you have kids, to set that password for you. They will never tell you. Okay, it's super powerful because they will never tell you because they don't want mommy or daddy to sit on the phone. Okay, right. And what do you start doing? What do I have to start doing tomorrow? Okay, I need to start exercising. Okay, great. Let me go for a 5-minute walk. All right, uninstall the app, the best thing ever. But you don't need to deprive, because what you resist persists. If you actually want to be on Instagram and you just uninstall the app, you'll have that constant, oh, I'm missing something in my life kind of a thing. Okay. I have tried uninstalling it. It didn't work for me. Sorry?
I would like to add here.
Yes, Shivani.
Yeah. So we must also ask, what can I delegate? And another thought that was, what you repeat? Please repeat the last sentence you talked about.
The start, stop, continue.
Yeah, one was delegate. What can I delegate? No, you were talking about something. I just skipped.
Reflection.
Okay,
The reflection is what we were talking about. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, when it comes to
I just
you,
lost
can,
lost that thought.
Yeah, no problem. Happens. And I'm sharing a lot of ideas here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one was like what we can delegate as
well.
Yeah. It was something around Instagram. Yeah.
So I was saying what you resist persists.
Yeah. What you resist persists.
Yes.
I just lost it.
Okay. No problem.
One wonderful idea
watch the recording again.
Yeah. One wonderful idea was striking. Just skipped. I'll tell you whenever I'm ready.
Sure. I've set 15 minutes timer on Instagram. Works for me. Great. I have a timer as well. It works for me. All right. So the entire thing. So
yeah, it was schedule the time for that. Schedule the time for that.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
because if you from the what you resist definitely persists. So if you schedule, like I will scroll for 10 minutes only and come back out of it. So that works.
Yes. It also works when you give yourself that 10 minutes of scrolling as a reward for doing something that you're procrastinating for a while.
Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's always after you do something, you get this. It's not before. Okay, I will do it for 10 minutes and then go to work. Never happens. Your work will get pushed. Right. So finish the work and then come here. Then you'll actually feel good about, earning that scroll time.
And we can also do it another way, that until and unless I do this work, I will not open this app.
Yep.
So that works.
Exactly. So finish this and then do it. Sure.
Okay. Also, you have to use the Pomodoro app. Taking rest after every 25 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever suits you.
Exactly. Yes. Whatever
5
suits
minutes,
you.
10 minutes.
Yes. Because I know we have a lot of theory. Some people say focus 90 minutes. Don't move for 90 minutes until you finish. Some people say Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes, 5 minutes break. All right. So whatever works for different people. And I'm coming to that. Right now, the entire aspect of performance optimization is one thing. Understand the game that you're playing. What is the game that we're playing? Are we playing a game? We're living life. Well, life is a game. Okay. But the difference is, most of us think it is juggling. We're juggling between work, life, family, friends, ourselves, everything, right? The problem with thinking of life as juggling is they're all glass balls. And if something falls, like for example, your health or your relationships fall, it's very hard to pick them back up. Right? The real game is not of juggling. The real game is of balance. And when I say balance, it's not work-life balance. I honestly believe there is no such thing as work-life balance. Okay, the balance is basically between your attractors and your detractors. What does this mean? Attractors are those that add value to your life, that add energy into your days and yourselves. Detractors are those that drain from you. You cannot eliminate detractors, right? They will always be there. But the game is also about you balancing between the attractors is when you're actually on, when you are performing, and the detractors when you are off or you're resting.
Can I say one thing?
Yes?
Pleasure and happiness.
Hmm?
The detractors are pleasure, momentary. And
Yeah.
happiness is a long-term thing,
Yeah, true.
quality of life.
Yes. So in a book, I forget the name of the book. I think this was the 10x book, I forget. But the author says the biggest challenge of adulthood is fighting between immediate gratification and long-term gains. Yeah. So it's all about that.
10x is easier than 100. 100x is easier than 10x.
10x. Yeah, actually it is. But doing 100x takes a lot of mindset work. All right. So balance your attractors and your detractors. Balance your on with your off. And when I say off, it's not you have a good day at work, you come back home, switch on the TV, sit on the couch and watch it. That is not recovery. That is not rest. Why? Because the TV is throwing millions of bits of information at us. We may feel like we are relaxing, but our brain is working on overload to absorb that information. Right? So especially if you are watching TV towards the end of the day, please stop doing that at least 1 hour before going to sleep.
What
Use
if
the
we comedy?
Sorry?
What if we watch some comedy movie or comedy serial?
Whatever it is. So avoid screen time for the last 30 minutes at least.
Go better sleep.
Yes?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So do the hard things first or allure of temptation? You tell me. Nirupama, you tell me. So the temptation is very short term. It's like I need to eat a chocolate because I will feel good in the moment. But I need to work out is harder because you don't see results immediately. But you eat a chocolate, the result is immediate. You get that dopamine hit immediately. Right? That is why we are addicted to dopamine. We need that constant, on for us, something that makes us feel good. Oh, you're saying the book. Okay, no, that's not the one. No. Not a layer of temptation. Okay. So the entire.
I want to add something, ma'am.
Yes, please.
I want to add something.
Please.
One thing I recognize planning for future for a long thing. They are long. It has. I have removed from my life after Corona. Planning for future is a wasting of time.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that entirely. Yes, but don't overthink future. Right? Set goals,
Yes,
set
yes,
ambitions,
yes.
set intentions for your
Yes.
future, but don't live in the future.
Plan, but don't overthink.
Exactly. Don't overthink. Don't
Plan
stay in
and
the future.
work in the present.
Exactly. Stay in the present. Think about the future. Learn from the past.
Only what you sow today will grow tomorrow.
Exactly. So if you don't think about, I want mangoes tomorrow, today you will not even sow the mango seed. Right? Your actions are determined by what you want to do in the future. Short-term thinking, again, can be very detrimental. It is also a way of us coping from not knowing or not having enough clarity in what we want. Okay? Now, so in this entire talk today, I shared a lot of ideas, right? So we spoke about defining success. We spoke about monitor, feedback, reflect. There were a lot of advice people shared. But I want to leave you with one thought. No advice is good advice if it doesn't work for you. you need to personalize advice or ideas that you're learning from elsewhere. Now, very quick short story on this. Now, everybody has heard this wake up at 5 a.m. Yeah, early mornings are great. You need to wake up early. Your days are going to be great. You're going to be productive. Every high performer will tell you wake up early. Okay, especially wake up at 5 a.m. I don't know what the 5 a.m. is, but I was determined to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to try it. 5 a.m. I'm going to get up. It's going to be great. During the time when I was working with the baby, at that time when I was burning out, 5 a.m. was the thing that I did. I woke up at 5 for 66 days. Why 66? Because some people say a habit forms in 21 days. Some people said it forms in 6 weeks. Some people said it forms in 66 days. So 66 was the biggest number I heard. I said, okay, let me wake up at 66 days. I'll wake up at 5. Okay, I did that. What do you think happened? Any thoughts? What do you think happened? 66 days, I woke up at 5.
Betty?
It wouldn't have
Impacted
worked.
your health.
New
Impacted
experience.
Sorry, multiple
After-
voices, one by one. Yeah. Dr. Renu?
On 67th day, you went back to sleep.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happened. 67th day, I was like, I'm done. And those 66 days were one of the main reasons I also burnt out.
Because what you said. It is because of what you said.
Exactly, because that wasn't working for me. Why? Because I had a less than a year-old baby at home who would wake me up 3 times in the night.
Oh, even otherwise,
Right?
if I say I'm going to do 60 days, after 60 days, I won't do it because I said so.
Exactly. Because it's a goal that we are setting, you've achieved the goal and you lose it.
But if
So our
you have a
goals
baby,
are not about
it was
what
a-
we want to do, but it should be about how we want to be.
But one thing
Right?
is sure, Pragnya, see,
Yeah.
having a baby is a different thing. Otherwise, if you get up in the morning, everybody's silent, you have a great focus time,
Absolutely.
and it's the
I
best time to
definitely
study.
agree. I wake up at least 45 minutes before the rest of my family does. I don't wake up at 5. I woke up today because I had to come here. Okay. But otherwise, I get up at 5:45. My family gets up at 6:30. That's more than enough. That 45 minutes of extra sleep for me is life-changing. Right? So the point I'm trying to make here is personalize the feedback or the learnings that you get. Because what works for you will not work for another person.
Yeah.
If I
everybody's
say
different.
getting up at 6:45, 5:45 is okay, it may not be okay for you. Right?
Should
That's
be
just a small
tailored.
example. But anything that I've shared here will not work for you if you don't do that reflection bit for yourself.
Same thing goes, Pragnya, when they say that this is the Ramban Ilaj. No,
Yeah.
everybody's different. You have to find
Absolutely.
your own.
Yes.
You have issue, you have to find your own way.
Absolutely. Yes. So that's me. So whatever you're learning, whatever you're seeing, whatever burnout you're facing, how to overcome it is up to you. If you can do it, all you need to do is journal, become aware of your thoughts, and start reflecting on every day. What worked, what did not work, what can I do better next day?
So you are taking to
Right.
mindfulness one way by
Yes.
journaling. Very nice way. Very nice. Great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Pragnya, I
So
have a
that's me.
question.
So any questions? The floor is open for discussions for you to share your thoughts as well.
Hi, Pragnya. I'm Rakesh here.
Yes, Rakesh. Hi.
When you spoke about time wasters, I was thinking
Mhm.
about one more time waster. It's the extra thing which they want from my job. Every day and every week and every month, my job always requires more and more of myself. It could be in the field of innovation, it could be in the hard work, it could be in the team building, or some other activities. It keeps coming up. When I was working 8 hours in the year, this year I'm working 9 hours. I feel it's a time waster because it's not adding to my commercial value. It's not adding to my purpose. It's not giving that satisfaction. What should I do?
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand your situation here. So are you working 9 hours because you want to work 9 hours or because you're being told that
My
you need to
company's
work?
demands.
Sorry?
My company demands.
So they're saying you need to work 9 hours?
They're pushing extra work.
So they're pushing extra work. It doesn't mean you do extra time. What you need to do is work smarter. This is where things like delegation, things like automating stuff comes to your benefit. Why am I saying this? Is because I know where you're coming from, right? There are more and more things that we need to do. If now the best performers in the team will always get loaded with more work. Okay, it doesn't mean you work extra. You draw your personal boundaries. Okay, you need to say, now look at your typical work day. This is what most of us do. We say we work 8 hours, we work 9 hours, we work 10 hours, but technically, how much did you work? Set your intentions every day morning saying, okay, 1, 2, 3 things I'm going to achieve today. Right? These 3 things should be aligned to the direction your organization is pushing you, or the direction in which you want to go. And these 3 things should be the, what do you call them? They're called pivotal tasks, the most critical tasks that you need to do. Okay, your focus should be on doing these 3. Anything that comes beyond that is stuff that you can actually delegate, move to another day. So there's basically 4D principle. You delete, delegate, defer, or do it. Okay, a lot of the things we do, we don't actually have to do. Right? If somebody says you need to do this, you can say, if I don't do this, what will happen? Okay, for most of our tasks, especially in my work, I used to see this. They would be like, oh, this report needs to go every day morning 7 o'clock. What happens if one day the report goes at 8 o'clock?
Right.
Technically, nothing happened. It's just that a mindset that everybody says, oh, you need to have it at 7 o'clock.
What if we use that quadrant? Important and urgent.
So that is a prioritization matrix. So how do you determine the top 3 that you need to work on? You could use something like that. What is important to assist? What is urgent? Usually people are firefighting. Whatever is the biggest, most urgent thing, we are working on that.
Because you don't plan.
Yeah. We need to work on actually not getting into the firefighting mode. We need to prevent fires from happening in the first place.
But now one thing more, the most successful people, the CEOs and people, they have a lot of time actually.
Yeah.
They get
and do you think they work less? They actually work more than you and I do.
They result more. They work less, but they produce results more.
Exactly. So you need to focus on finding your top tasks that make the impact, that bring the results.
Impact, yes.
That is
Working
where
with
your
80-20
prioritization
principle.
needs to be. Sorry,
Working
Rakesh?
with 80-20 principle.
Yeah, 80-20
Combination of
principle.
80-20 and Eisenhower is
Yes.
like
It will be applied anywhere.
most out of it.
Absolutely. Right, so Rakesh, did I answer your question or did we go all over the globe?
Definitely, Pragnya.
I hope you got some ideas there. Awesome. All right, so Gaurav, yes?
Yeah, before asking question, just add on to Dr. Rakesh here. Like even for me, less is more always. Like 3 years back, I was working almost 14 hours. Then I realized that even I'm working only the visibility at my surrounding only, not global visibility. So after that understanding, I believe at least 30 to 40% hours I reduced. Just started working on strategic area and visibility. And finding the right people, like Eisenhower metrics, which you just said, started delegating, finding the good ecosystem around me, which people can do that activity. Even hiring piece, I was so choosy. Even one person I'm hiring, I want the A person. I don't want B or C players, because then they will take care business. I just have to be around them. So that really helped. And one point which you raised, like about Indians, that we have the habit always showcasing, even on leave, we show the proud that I'm on leave, but I'm approachable. You can call me anytime. Yeah.
Seriously, we're replying to emails. By the way, have you replied to emails in the middle of the night, after 12 o'clock, after working hours? Yes.
Earlier,
Have you seen people who send emails?
Stop doing.
No, not at all.
No? Then good. I like that. But a lot of people do, right? So I have seen people who's replying emails in the middle of the night, they're sending emails. The problem is not with the person who is sending the emails. If you saw that email at 3 o'clock, the problem is with you.
But nowadays, the company has done they are very strict. When you are on vacation, you cannot take your laptop, you cannot use your mobile.
I'm so glad to hear that. I think Dubai needs to catch up then.
Pragya, after 4, I feel I'm not a doctor after my duty, and switch off my thoughts about my duty in that place. And I always tell to my patient, when there is an emergency, I'm here, but not for chit chat or not for any normal talk. I always
Exactly.
talk these 2 words to them, and it's been working nice with me for almost 5-6
Exactly.
years. And my
You
mind
know,
switch off and switch on very well.
yes. You know what this is? This is setting boundaries.
Absolutely.
All right. And you can do this. So with the work from home thing that started, this was the biggest challenge with people because people started working more from home. Why? Because they did not have that boundary between work and their personal life.
And they
So
didn't
it
have
used
any
to help.
time. They could
Yes.
call anytime. It's
Exactly.
wrong.
You were like 24/7, you were always active. You were always on your laptops. Yes. So it doesn't mean you're being productive. You're just being busy. There is a world
Yeah,
of difference between the two.
absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome.
Dr. Renu's words reminds
Yes.
me of the instance of Indra Nooyi when she went to her home to break the news or that she has been promoted as a global CEO.
Exactly. They
And
said, leave your work at
yeah,
work.
yeah, leave your work at work.
Exactly. Her mom said, you might
The
be a
news
boss in
can,
your
yeah,
work.
the
Here
news
you're
can
a
wait.
mother. Yes.
Yeah, your responsibilities are waiting.
Exactly. So you need to have that, distinction between. So a physical trigger is always useful to say, okay, this is work, this is not work. So that's why they say don't work in your bed. Never work, take your laptop on a bed. Keep a table somewhere else, work there. So workspace needs to be different from where you sleep. Okay. Awesome. Yes, Ranvijay's hand has been up. Somebody's hand must be hurting. Yes, Ranvijay.
Yeah, like I just wanted to add one important point for Dr. Rakesh's problem. So even I was in the same boat till last month. Like what happens is we get lots of work. When you do well, you get lots of work. So I work as a delivery lead for a major airlines technology partner, and I'm in Sydney right now. So what happens is uh, then I started finding out, okay, why is it we are getting a lot of work? And then I figured out one in podcast from Uncle Bariko. He said, if you are being trustworthy, you are giving the result, your manager will trust more and will pile up the work more to you. So that is the reason why you are smart, you are good, you are getting more work. So I started taking that in a positive way. But I also noted uh, I'm getting escalations as well. So now I saw there are lots of work, lots of work. I'm getting over focused. So redesigned my to-do template in the more important, more urgent, and that matrix. I redesigned my to-do, which I use daily. So that helped. And second thing which I started doing is I started blocking calendar for myself. Let's say a focus hour of 45 minutes. I just blocked that calendar so that anyone could not steal my time and spend that
Yeah.
time. So those are two strategies I've been using, and it has been quite a few months which I did a major change, and I found it very it's working, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Time blocking is a game changer. If you need to control three things in your life, okay? Your tasks, your time, and your mindset. Okay. Now your time is where you control using a calendar. If you don't use a calendar, I highly recommend doing it. Now, when this is an continuation to what we were discussing earlier as well. So when you determine your priority for the day, block a time to work on that priority. Okay. And reward yourself for doing that. Something that you have been, putting away, procrastinating, whatever it is, do it, and then, you'll get yourself some reward. But when I say this, also be mindful that, for example, if you say I will exercise and my reward is a bar of chocolate, then it's actually counterproductive. Yes. So you need to time your rewards also properly. So I switched my rewards from, okay, if I exercise, I'll buy myself another book. Okay, that was a game changer. But time blocking, Ranvijay, thank you so much for bringing it up. If you don't do it, please, please, please start doing it. And don't time block every single second of your day, just for your top 3 priorities, just 45 minutes, 1 hour, 90 minutes, whatever is possible for you in your workplace is a focus time. No distractions, nothing. Go block a conference room if you're in a, busy open floor kind of working. If you're at home, switch off the phone, switch off the Wi-Fi if you don't need internet, or, tell your family, get out. I need this room for myself for 1 hour. That's your focus time. It's very easy to create it. We overthink it. In fact, if you're in a busy office setting, put on headphones, noise cancelling headphones.
Along with time blocking, sometimes time boxing also can be a game changer.
Yeah. True. So
The
you
time
box
boxing
them
is
together. You say all these kind
No,
of
no.
tasks, I will deal with it at this
No,
time of the day.
that is
No.
different. That is different.
Yeah.
Time boxing is something I have to complete this within this allotted
Within
time.
this hour. Exactly. Yes. So
So,
this is actually a law. I forget
because
the name.
Parkinson's law
Parkinson's law. Yes.
always work, and
True.
the amount of time work expands to fill up time.
Fill up
Says.
time. So if you give
Yeah.
yourself, I have 3 hours to write an email, you will have 3 hours to write an email. You have 5 minutes to write an email, you will be done in 5 minutes.
Definitely. That's time boxing.
Yes, absolutely.
So we keep on striving for perfection, but perfection is not
What
real.
is perfection? It is a mindset.
Don't make better the enemy of good.
Absolutely. Perfection is just us.
It's an illusion. Perfect is
It's
illusion.
illusive. Exactly. Nothing is perfect. But everything can be perfect in our own mind.
Better
Yes.
than last time.
Better than last time. Exactly. I love that definition. As long as you're improving, even if it is, small increments throughout the day, that is where the magic is. Thank you. Manisha, yes?
Ma'am, I want to add, as you asked earlier, ki how many hours you work, I responded 18, right?
Yeah.
So I was a concrete 18 because I don't believe work is only that where we receive any payment. I also believe that cooking for the children and spending time with the children and helping them in other activities, doing anything is work.
Yeah.
Because if anybody asks us anytime over the phone, where are you? I say at work. तो वो बहुत आराम से फोन रख देते हैं. But when I used to tell I am cooking, I am with my child, so they used to hold the call. So this difference also I feel that other things also which is not paid, it is also work for me. So I take
Absolutely.
6 hours sound sleep, but 18 hours is like workplace as well as home place, children place. And one thing I have learned is be the child. Every day, maybe for 10 minutes, I be a child. I play with my children. I do all lots of naughtiness with them. So I think that everyone should live every day, be the child every day.
Yep. All right. So if I can ask everyone to do one thing for me, go open Google right now and search for the definition of work.
From
Manisha brought up
Manisha's
a very
definition,
interesting
I'm
point.
reminded that whenever our mind is running anywhere, it's working. It doesn't work only in sleep. Even
Yeah.
in sleep, the subconscious is working.
Exactly.
Subconscious works 24/7.
So
While
this is our definition.
conscious
Yeah.
sleeps. Yeah, conscious sleeps when we sleep.
Yep. True. A subconscious never sleeps. Universe never sleeps. Right? Okay, the definition of work. Did anybody Google it? Can someone tell me what it was?
Definition of work.
Yeah.
Work is activity involving mental or physical effort done in order to achieve a purpose or result.
Yeah. So is cooking work? Yes.
Obviously, everything is work until our mind is run. Conscious mind is run.
When you are sleeping, your body is working.
Absolutely. So
Kidney,
work
liver,
is
everything.
not a workplace. It's not a job that you do. Work is any physical, mental activity that you do. I agree with what Manisha said. That's why she said she works 18 hours a day. However, there's one thing that I would correct in what Manisha said. Playing with your children is not work. If it is work, then you're doing it wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
Why? Because there is no specific result or purpose that you want to achieve by doing that. It's just time you spend it, you be there in that moment. Right? So that is the difference. So work is a mindset.
Only if you're not enjoying playing with them, that's it.
No, ma'am, I meant work like for other people who call me up now. When I am with the child, I keep it कि मैं उनके साथ खेलना ही है मुझे. So I tell them I am at work, but I don't let them know that I am with my child. So that मेरे लिए
Right,
वो
that's for other
priority
people to
सबसे
stop
best है.
bugging you. Okay, I get it now. Yes. So even, some people say, oh, do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life. Have you heard this saying? Yes?
Several times.
Yes, ma'am.
People tell you this. I'm sorry, that's, pardon my language, but that's bullshit. right? Do what you love. It will make your work enjoyable. You will still have to work. You will still have to use your mental and physical energy.
Pragnya, whoever says I'm very busy, I have a lot of work, they notice lesser result. But I'm busy
Exactly.
all day.
Who is not busy? Obama is not busy.
Yes. It is about how much
Only
result
not busy.
produce. That is important.
Only someone in the graveyard is not busy.
Exactly. And when you said graveyard, I remembered one of my colleague in one speech had shared, what is the richest place on earth?
That's the
Graveyard.
graveyard.
A graveyard. Why?
And
Because that is
How much
where
of
you will
graveyard?
find unwritten books, unsung songs, untold stories, unused
unshared
potential,
ideas.
unshared ideas. Right? That's the only time you will actually rest. True. I'm loving these conversations. It's beautiful.
Yeah, but why you call it richest? I don't get it.
Sorry?
You just said graveyard is the richest place.
Yeah, because there is so much idea, so
Ideas.
much potential,
That
so
point of
much that,
Not bad.
is just lying there.
No, but the
Yeah.
ideas still existed outside also, right? It's not just
Yeah,
there.
I'm just saying. So unresolved ideas. That means, the idea behind it is not the literal meaning. It's
No.
the fact that,
Pragnya, actual meaning is that people didn't use their idea in the whole life
Yeah.
and they died.
exactly.
They were
That
not.
means
They
it
were
was a
afraid.
lot of potential that got wasted, and that potential is very rich.
That way.
No, what I have other definition.
Yeah.
Like what I'm saying is when people go to graveyard, they share so much richness about what they didn't do in life and what they could have done to the benefit of everybody.
Yeah.
So they share like when you are at your deathbed, right? You get to think everything to the best of your ability and your experience and so many things, right? That you didn't share it before.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like you are thinking from your soul, right? So
True.
that's the richness in that. That's how I take it.
Absolutely. That's also a very interesting perspective. Thank you for sharing that, Manish.
Yeah.
And we were talking about thoughts on deathbed. So when we say work, not the definition that we saw, but when we say job, career, this being work, people would say, oh, I wish I didn't work so much. Why would they say that?
There was a book now on that. A nurse wrote a book, right? What is the book?
So it's one of the top 5 regrets of dying people.
Ah.
Why do you think that is the case? If people love working,
I think people don't love working. Sometimes they do working because they want to prove something. And when they are on a deathbed, they realize that the proving did happen. It didn't help them.
Exactly.
What they wanted was the more time with the family or something else, what they love to do. They would like to play guitar, whatever.
Yeah. So that's why rich lives matter. It's not about how much you made. It's not about how much time you spent at work. It's about how much you did with your life. Right? I recommend one book, 168 Hours by Laura Vanderkam. Okay. So this book, she basically, she's a productivity expert, and she talks about thinking in terms of weeks. So we say you have 24 hours in a day. So when we say live a rich life, what does it mean? In 24 hours, you want to travel the world, you want to work, you want to spend time with family, you want to sleep, you want to do everything. You cannot do it in 24 hours. But you can do it in 168 hours. Right? So that's the switch that she brings. Yeah, 168 Hours by Laura Vanderkam. So I would highly recommend reading that book.
Name of the author?
Laura Vanderkam. And there's a TED talk also that she has given on the same topic. Vanderkam, K-A-M. There's also a TED talk that she has done on the same topic. It's beautiful. I would highly recommend read that. Vanderkam, yes.
Thank you, Pragnya. And I love the spirit that you joined us today. So early morning, 5:30 a.m. Dubai time.
My pleasure.
And my gratitude to all the viewers who are making these sessions successful. So please do share whatever is your takeaway, or what kind of sessions or speakers you wish us to bring for you. So your feedback will definitely help us enhance the level of sessions we are conducting, and definitely so that they can be a game changer for you. They can help you develop your skills, which is our prime motive Yes, Gaurav, please.
Yeah, one point which I will just say that, like Pragnya, what she has done here, like less is more. She has given another example. People feel at least I need to cover 10 slides. Someone go with the 40 slides and someone say, no, आपको कम slides में share करना है. But without sharing slides, you have given so much information. So this is also breaking the pattern, breaking the limiting belief. Yeah. So thanks for that.
I feel slides are something we hide behind, because we lose that connection with the audience. And especially this is virtual, right? So if I put a slide, my face becomes one tiny thing on the side.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that's why I don't prefer using slides, but unless there is something, but I have received counter, feedback now, because people are very visual, right? So if you have something to see, they'll actually remember it also. So there is a, trade-off between this and that. Yeah.
Regular slides, why many people put slides so that they can give crux to the people. They can
Exactly. So the summary slides always make a difference. Yeah.
Other, you have to speak from your heart only. You cannot go on.
That's true.
And one
I
thing
think
more I
that Manish
realized.
had one question. Sorry. Yes, Gaurav?
Yeah, no, I was saying one thing more I realized, because we were interrupting you, a lot of people were interrupting you a lot. But if you could have been with the slides, it could have been problem. But you were with the full flow. You wanted to interact. Despite of 100 times you have got interrupted
We
in
were
this session.
interacting. We are not
No,
interrupting.
I did not look at any of that as interruption.
We were
It was a
interacting.
discussion.
Absolutely, that was interaction because there was no slide. Yeah.
Yes.
I hope my
Thank
talk
you.
was
Thank you
interaction,
for the
not
feedback.
interruption.
Thank you.
So Hirani ji, that's the reason I'm saying, वो slides होता तो वो interruption बन जाता.
Yes,
Because there was no slide, it was interactive.
अच्छा हुआ. Yes, really.
Very nice. Thank you. I think Manish has one question, and he's saying, please, so we'll let him ask his question.
Yeah, one thing what you just said, the slide thing, like my take is that, it is more about effective communication with emotions. So what I think is, like, I will prefer to put my energy more on better communication and better emotional connection with my audience rather than diverting or dividing my energy in putting the slides. So what I do is, the real, like how you communicate to people, that really makes a difference.
Yeah.
मगर मनीष जी ने पहले एक मिनट मैडम एक मिनट पहले मैंने बहुत बार ऐसा विदाउट स्लाइड किया तो सर बहुत लोग बोलते हैं ये अच्छा नहीं है तुम्हारा. They to tell me you should put slide. I don't know why.
No, that is their interpretation.
I speak what I have to speak. I don't see it, look at slide. I just read that slide and speak out. But there are many people that you should put slide. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look professional. I don't know what to do. So I started doing. I got it done from my daughter. I don't know how to make slide.
See, again, there is no right or wrong formula. It's what works for you. That's what we're saying. It's always about your personal. So because some people have a different delivery style, not everybody is conversational and things like that, right? So it depends again. So if you use slides, always make your slides your backup just for visual effect. There's no value add of putting words on a slide.
Just for notes.
Just there is no free flow. Pragnya, then there is no free flow.
There is no
bound by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, thank you for such a good session today. And I always like to ask one question, like, what is your most important learning till today? Like, which really kept you like fully motivated, kept going? Like, what is that, the main learning that I would like to share from you?
Okay. So every time you ask, I'm asked this question, my answer is different. Okay. So today, my biggest learning is share. Share what you know, because when you share, you learn more. All right. So when you're learning anything, right? If you're reading a book, if you're taking a course, whatever it is, you're learning once. Teach this to somebody else and you're learning twice. Right? That has been my biggest way of learning. All right. So if I don't know a topic well enough, I will go teach it to somebody else. Okay. That is what has helped me refine my talks and my topics over the years. So that's something that I really stick to. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wonderful session, Pragnya, and my sincere gratitude to you for being with us and taking the sessions with such an interactive mood. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was really my pleasure. I think everyone was so interactive and they were asking questions and engaging so well. It was such a beautiful discussion. So thank you for having me, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Pragnya. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm.